Wow. All right. So, this is my first time going live on my channel. I got like tons a bunch of subscribers, and I just be hiding in the shadows. But I felt like, you know, after getting to 10,000, this was a good a time as any to celebrate and to um kind of do a live chat, answer questions. I brought my boy Devin Cox from the Devin Cox Experience. He gonna join me because I had a little apprehension about this. I don't know how this is gonna fly.
Well, let me correct you. You said after 10,000, no fam, you are at 100K.
Yeah.
Big difference.
100K. Yeah. It is a big difference, and it's actually super terrifying because I feel like I need to do better. I feel like I need to do more. I need to do better. Uh, uh, um, and it just scares me. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. I think it
Uh,
just more or less it's just kind of like shows where hard work gets you. You worked hard,
yeah,
you put out your content. You know, people want to hear your content, people want to listen
yeah.
and watch your content, and I think this is just kind of like what you've been working for, and I think that's amazing. You know, I feel
Um,
like one, you should be proud, and two, even more importantly, like you know, it's just one of those things where you have people that's in this space that's kind of telling history,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we need more people telling our stories
yeah.
with our voices, and I think that's what resonates with people so well that you're telling these little known history facts, and you're from the culture, and I think that is just amazing.
I it's weird because I kind of just you know I don't deal with praise very well. I don't know if that comes from my upbringing or what, but it's just like it feels like doing this and talking to people and having them say, "Hey, I love your podcast," like
Well,
that. So me being in the shadows, that kind of works for me.
well, frankly speaking, a lot of black people don't deal with praise very well anyway because we're not used to hearing it. Like even when we
Yeah,
excel at things to the extreme level,
yeah,
it's always you could be better. like
yeah.
like
Or
you
why
know
why are you not better? You know,
exactly like you
why
know
are you
people
not better? Oh,
people crap
speaking
on
of this,
Serena Williams.
this is the
Oh,
reason. This is the reason for the season because it came
tell
in. Yeah, I know, right? This is
do
very
you,
dope.
do you feel like one of the rappers when they finally get their platinum plaque?
Yeah, I feel like I need a studio. You know how you don't have a legit studio if you ain't got platinum plaques on the wall. That's what this feels. It feels like I need like a whole row of these.
Yeah, I feel you're right, man. You gotta put it up and hang it up somewhere, man. That's an
Yeah,
accomplishment. Not
man. You got
not many
yeah,
people get to that. You know, not
yeah.
even
I they don't. It's I looked at the numbers and from all the channels, it's like 0.2% get to 10 to 10,000. I mean
oh
100,000, and
100,000.
it's yeah. I keep saying 10, but I don't know why 10's in my head, but I do remember specifically that this time last year I had 10K because I saw it popped up on my feed. It was like, hey, I got to 10,000, and I was so proud about that. They could have gave me a plaque for that. It would be hanging up in the wall
They
too.
should have.
They should have, right?
10,000 is a lot.
Yeah, 10,000 is a lot. Yeah, 10,000 is a lot. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
that. He deserves it.
Oh, oh, but like when you in this place, it's like, what do you do now? Where's the next step? What's the next goal? And I
You
always was doing like
you know the
mental
next step.
goals.
Now you got to go
Yeah.
out there and start boxing and go fight Mike Tyson.
Ma-
That's what content creators do
Mike
now.
Tyson is gonna kill that boy. He gonna kill that boy, even at 57. Like I
Yeah,
see Mike, and I'm like,
yeah.
I
I'm
would
not fighting
never.
that dude.
I'm not fighting that dude. I'm not fighting that dude. There's no me. Even if I had the best version of me, you know how we always trying to be better. Even had the best version of myself, I would never fight. The best version of me could not beat Mike Tyson at 57 years old. I'm just saying.
Absolutely not. Not even gonna
Absolutely not.
try it.
Not even gonna try it. Not even gonna try it. Like I like not having CTE.
Yeah, that's important. Like, yeah, be pretty hard to talk about Black history when you got CTE.
Yeah. You be like Antonio Brown, just making up stuff.
Yeah, or Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye when he not on his Lexapro.
Yeah, there's that. So, man,
um,
how does it feel, man? I know you were saying you kind of feel the pressure, but you shouldn't feel pressure because This is a day of celebration. This is a time where we don't celebrate
No,
Black people enough.
no, and to that point, I feel as though even the channel itself is a bit of celebrating Black people and their accomplishments. And I try not to make it too negative. I try not to focus on things on things that are overly negative. Some things are just impossible. Like Emmett Till is going to be rough. It's always going to be rough.
Yes.
But some of these stories can be positive, and I think even overall, it's a story of continued perseverance in the face of adversity. I will say that there is a like this juxtaposition between what I want to make and what people will watch, because I want to do more Bloody Sundays, but fried chicken pays bills. Fried chicken pays bills. Well,
since you brought that, let me ask you a question then.
Yes,
what
sir.
has been your favorite one to kind of study and kind of talk about?
Oh man, and this is I'm gonna segue this into another part, but I love Josephine Baker's story. Like I feel like I couldn't talk about her enough, and I know that every time I talk about her videos never do that well. But I think I think her story is amazing. That like taking someone who grew up, I think it's like a genuinely American story, and having someone who grew up in poverty and then went to France and excelled and became the richest Black American woman at the time, and then during World War II became a spy for the French Resistance, and then came back to the United States and fought for civil rights. Like that's a full plate. That's a full plate of activities. I made a story on just her activities as a French spy, and that was like 10 minutes. She's just an amazing person. I can't talk about her enough. And honestly, I feel like a lot of the stories, especially the stories about Black women, and I feel like maybe that's the next frontier for me, but to highlight the stories of Black women during history or during the civil rights movement, because they just get so many of these stories get overlooked. The people that I enjoy, like the Ida B. Wells of the world, and the Josephine Bakers, like those stories, people just don't hear them. They don't hear them enough. They're not seeing them enough, and we need to highlight them.
I agree, and the cool thing about the thing that you do is Black history happens every day. It's a constant thing that goes on and will continue to go on as long as we're a culture that exists. I think it's amazing that you are kind of doing this, and you can kind of get to the point where you can kind of go from modern times to do it to back in the day, and kind of like it's really cool that you have so much content you can do to get to 200K.
I don't ultimately could run out of genuine content. So much of the stuff is just so interesting, and stories. So many stories need to be told. Like even if you don't talk about an actual event, you could talk about abstract things. This is kind of how you got started with the whole idea of with fried chicken, or just food in general, just soul food in general. You can just talk about like the history of these foods. So many of these foods, we don't even know how we got here. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how you got to this point. You're just like, oh man, why do I like chitlins? Why do I enjoy chitlins? Well, because we were used to getting the low parts of the hog, and we were able to turn, sugar, basically, shit into sugar.
Yeah.
shit into sugar.
That story is interesting and cool because it kind of just shows Black people's perseverance, how we could take nothing and make something out of it. And and not only that, we thrive off of that. We kind of we build ourselves up to it. They give us the real situations. They give us the ghettos, the projects, and we make them beautiful.
And that's absolutely, like, it's funny, talking about food, you think it's just about food, but it ends up being like the kind of like an overarching story of Black people in general. We just take things and we make them better. We make them great. Now, granted, I don't like chitlins. I will not eat chitlins. I'm not going to eat chitlins. I don't like chitlins. I don't know how anyone ever ate chitlins. Hey, my ancestors ate them. It was good for them, but we're not there no more. We are not there no more.
I live in the South, and I grew up in the South, and that was a common thing that we'd eat. Like anytime I go to Georgia to visit family, they would have chitlins,
Thank you so
collard
much.
greens. Thank you for that, by the way. Hog maw. They would have
Yeah,
rabbit. That was like these were
right.
common things that we would have to eat, and it was like this is as a kid, I'm like this is weird. But then you get older, you're like, oh, this is part of culture. This is the things that we ate, and
Yeah,
that's what we grew up in. So when you go in the country, gotta kind of do what country folk do.
we do love some wrinkled steak. I will say this about chitlins. I did enjoy I do enjoy the story of chitlins, and there's this interesting passage in it where they talk about like the phrase "high on the hog," because the phrase "high on the hog" these days means somebody that's rich, but the idea comes from the fact that richer people ate parts of the hog that were physically higher. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you were poor, you were eating pieces of the hog that were lower, the jowls, the knuckles, the intestines, and all that stuff. That's what poor people ate. So now we think of high on the hog as somebody that's being rich, and I think there's a show on Netflix about it, about called High on the Hog. But for us, we used to this. We used to taking the low parts of the hog and making that stuff delicious. I'm still not gonna eat that though. I'm not eating knuckles. I'm not eating pig feet. Do you remember going to the corner store and they had that pickled pig feet in a jar?
I used to eat it when I was a kid. I used to eat it because, like I said, I grew up in the South, and they would have like pickled eggs and pig feet. I can't eat that mess now. That stuff gives me a headache now when I eat it. But back in the day,
that is what you get.
like hot sausages and stuff like that. That was like a common thing.
Whatever was in that pickle stuff, like anything that's in that pickle jar is disgusting. You just know it's gonna be disgusting. Like it's
pretty much.
Yeah, I can't do it. Absolutely.
Maybe it's because I'm getting older now, but yeah, that stuff I can't
absolutely cannot eat that. That's not I mean, for enslaved people who are given the worst parts of the hog, I get it. This is what you had to eat. But today in 2024, the whole world is available to me. I'm not eating that. Whole world is out there.
let me ask you this: what's some of the more fascinating stories that you found out about Black history, Black culture? Little known facts that you're like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like I know that was a couple months ago now. When I sent you the thing about Franklin, you're like, oh, that's interesting.
I made a story about that. That's sitting in the vault. That joint sitting in the vault. It's gonna be. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that story. Wow. One thing that I always found interesting, and I know people. Surprisingly, this is on the complete side note. Surprisingly, people don't enjoy the stories about Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement like you think they would. Like you think that's a central to. I guess because we heard it so much.
Exactly.
But one of the things that was always interesting to me was how Martin Luther King fell into being a civil rights leader. Like he didn't go out with the idea that, hey, I'm going to be the leader, the voice of my people during a movement. Like it was just it was almost happenstance, because when they were in Montgomery during the before the Montgomery boycott, Montgomery bus boycott, E.D. Nixon, who was the leader of the NAACP, the local chapter of NAACP, was looking for a woman that was above reproach. This is what happened to Claudette Colvin. He was looking for, it wasn't just that she was dark and she was pregnant, she was 15. It was all of those things together, and the fact that they didn't know her. This is where you get Rosa Parks, because Rosa Parks was the secretary for the NAACP at the time. E.D. Nixon knew her personally. When she got arrested, he was the first person they called. So while she's never publicly said that it was a setup, it kind of feel like a setup. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, after she gets arrested and they set up the boycott, which was only supposed to be one day, it was so successful that they would decided, hey, we're going to do this indefinitely. But to do this indefinitely, we need a organization to manage this boycott. That's where they created the Montgomery Improvement Association, or MIA, and they needed a president. And they didn't know who they were going to choose to be the president, right? They had other people in mind. But eventually they came around to a young 26-year-old preacher from Atlanta, right? The only reason they chose him is because, and this is Rosa Parks, this is a quote, because he had not been there long enough to make enough friends or enemies. Nobody knew him. So he was a perfect point person for this movement because nobody knew who Martin Luther King was. In a place where everybody had made friends and enemies because they'd been there their entire life, they chose a newcomer because nobody felt anything. They didn't know who he was. It wasn't until after they had chosen him that they realized, oh, this guy is amazing.
Yeah.
So imagine what happens in history if I think they wanted to choose J.K. Steele. They chose J.K. Steele for the movement. We probably wouldn't have even known who Martin Luther King was.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
so
just
tell
it's
her
that those
how it
kind of
would've
stories
worked.
where like things just kind of just like, oh, things had to fall into place for you to get here.
Yeah. It's like those other two players who were picked before Michael Jordan.
Right.
Before he
Was
got to the Bulls. Like
it Clyde
was
Drexler and Sam Bowie?
Yeah.
Clyde Drexler and Sam Bowie? Was it Clyde
That's-
Drexler? No, it wasn't Clyde Drexler.
I know it was Sam Bowie. Because Jordan still talks about it to this day.
I know Sam Bowie somewhere catching strays just for no reason. Like I would hate to be Sam Bowie. He just be like at home. Like remember the time Sam Bowie got drafted before you, bro.
But that's what it is, though. Sometimes destiny and faith happen to make certain things happen. To
Yeah,
kind of kismet, I guess they're saying.
yeah. Things have to.
Kind of came in there.
Yeah,
and
things
changed
have
the
to
culture.
fall your way. You know, we'll say this since we're talking about Black history, since it's today. One of the things that always interested me was how Malcolm X used to talk about Martin. Like you would think, and looking back on it, we always see them together like they were, Professor X and Magneto, and they were sort of friends, but they respected each other. But I don't know if early on, if Malcolm actually, the way he used to talk, he was talking crazy. He was talking kind of crazy.
They more were like Prince and Michael Jackson.
Yeah, or like what's his name? Prince and Rick James. I don't know if you remember Rick James. He used to tour with Prince early on, and he hated Prince. He's like that little nigga. He made me work too hard.
Yo, you have to at some point just talk about the history between all these famous groups.
I would love to do like music, and I don't know if this is too much of a turn or what, but I would love to do like music and talk about just the history, because Prince himself, just by himself, has an interesting story. I mean, when his manager first heard Prince, he thought Prince was a band. He thought Prince was like multiple people, and he's like, this is just one person playing all these instruments. What's this sound? Who sounds like this? He knew Prince was that dude from like the moment he heard him. From a guy who's used to hearing music, the moment he heard Prince, he knew Prince was different. He knew Prince was different. And that story, like, that's just so interesting. Anything you hear a story about Prince, you know it's gonna be good. Especially when like Prince and Rick James together.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
That's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I would love to do something like that. I don't know. I want to start delving into music. I'm doing more music now because I did the one on the creation of country music, and I have one in the vault about rock music, and then I have the one that just came out about race records and how race records kind of move into R&B. So like after they were doing race records all the way up to the 1940s, and then during World War II caused a shortage of some of the materials that they needed to make records, so they were making much less records. And then after World War II, they changed the name of the chart. It wasn't a race record chart anymore. It was R&B, rhythm and blues, what they called it. They didn't call it R&B. They called it rhythm and blues, and that led into the whole rhythm and blues. Even though it doesn't sound like today, like it's not Jodeci. It wasn't Jodeci in the time. It actually, and then rhythm and blues creates rock and roll. Rock and roll is a direct descendant of rhythm and blues. So yeah, that's gonna be fire.
I like the chat is saying Hakeem was the #1 pick in the '84 draft where Jordan was drafted.
Akeem, you cannot laugh at Akeem. There's nothing that I can say.
You can't clown Akeem.
There's nothing.
That's actually a really good pick.
Yeah, that's actually a really good pick. I have nothing bad to say about him.
Yeah. Sam Bowie, like
Sam Bowie. That was a different time, though. We have to understand that they used to prioritize bigs at the time. Yeah. So, like, while I want to be like, Sam Bowie, brother, I can't. I can't be too mad at him. Just the idea that the Blazers could have had Jordan Drexler on the same squad, like, bro,
ooh, that's heat. That's a sick lineup, bro. They would have
been on your neck. I remember. I don't know if you saw that meme maybe about a month back, where they were like, I'm done with the 80s. I'm done with this particular moment, because they would look at highlights and then be like, oh, yeah, they were really trash. And I saw this highlight video of Drexler cooking Michael Jordan. And I was like, this is not the flex you think it is, because Drexler was like that.
Yes.
Clyde Drexler was like that. That's not a flex. That's just, I'm telling you who he is. That guy was dope.
Dope.
Yeah, he was dope. Man, these kids, they don't know nothing about highlights. I saw it. I was there. I'm an old man.
Let me ask the chat. Chat, put in the chat, what type of what else would you like to see Mike talk about on the pod? Like, give us some suggestions.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, man.
Yeah, drop them in there.
Yeah, drop them in there. If you got any questions, I'll answer some questions. I'll put them up there. I answer some questions. It don't have to be necessarily about Black history. It could just be about, life in general or whatever. Or you want to talk about X-Men 97, which I am addicted to. So that's
fantastic. Cool. I have not watched the news episode yet, so don't spoil it for me. But
I'm not gonna spoil it for you. But I will say that they teased Nimrod, right?
Oh, okay.
And I did this on Threads, but I basically talked about like how Nimrod, where the name came from, because Nimrod means hunter. Like that's the definition. And he was a mighty hunter in Genesis. But because of the Looney Tunes, we think it's an insult. It's an insult today, because like during the mid 30s, early 40s, they Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck in particular would call Elmer Fudd a Nimrod in reference to him being a hunter, and kids, me, would see it and assume that it meant an idiot, a buffoon, that it was an insult, and it wasn't. It was just a reference. It was kind of ironically, they would say it ironically, but it still was a reference to him being a hunter. So now the name Nimrod means, why would you name your character that?
Yeah. Also, for those who don't know, the person who's writing X-Men 97 is a Black person.
Yeah, and they fired him. So there's that.
Yeah, and so far it's been fantastic.
Yeah, it has been fantastic.
It's so
honestly
good.
If you didn't know he was Black, when man, y'all ain't watched it. Y'all messing with me, man. I can't even say stuff.
Yeah,
I can't even say stuff.
Episode 5 is amazing.
Banana. I love my wife. My biggest supporter.
I'm glad it was clarified that's your wife. Like, oh.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, I would love to do more. I would love to do more. That is a good one. I would love to do more on education. On education also. I did some things on, the massive resistance and Brown versus the Board of Education, but I feel like there's definitely more to talk about in terms of that history. What I will say about specifically about the massive resistance, a lot of the things that you see today in terms of like vouchers and funneling money into private schools, all of that came from the massive resistance and Black kids wanted to integrate with white kids. And I saw this, I think Mr. Grimm posted this, but he posted a video not that long ago, and it basically said that integration wasn't about Black kids sitting next to white kids, but it was specifically about access to resources. And that's exactly what this was, is that, hey, separate but equal did not mean equal. We were in unequal facilities, and even when they argued during Brown versus the Board of Education, Thurgood Marshall's argument was that separate but equal, even when they have equal facilities, is inherently unequal. Then after that point, the whole idea is I just want to separate my kids from you. I don't want kids be next to a black person. I want these to continue to be unequal. And you see it even that continues today. Is that
Yes.
that whole fight for public funding for private schools and vouchers and all that stuff is deeply rooted in segregation and wanting your kids to be separated, black kids be separated from white kids.
Well, I'm going to throw out a loaded question. Do you think we're taking some steps back with everything that's been happening as of late? It seems like society, especially when it comes to black people, is taking some steps back.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things about history is, and God, I can't remember. I think it was Benita, one of my friends, mentioned that, how do you not be angry all the time? How do you not stay constantly upset, constantly angry? And
watch cartoons.
Yeah, watch X-Men 97.
That's literally what I
Watch
do.
X-Men 97. That's the only way that you can stay sane, because you start to see patterns in the movement. You start to see like things that oh, I've seen this before. Oh, they've done this before. And and even when you see things like, rolling back of, DEI or affirmative action, it's just here to try to create a scapegoat where no such scapegoat exists. Now you have right-wing pundits, and they're talking about anytime they see a black pilot or a black doctor, they automatically assume that they're about to get the worst treatment, and that person was only hired because they were black. Like you have no qualification. Like they just pulled this nigga off the street, and they're like, "Hey,
so insulting." Which is
it's so insulting.
Like you work as hard as you can to get in this field that is a difficult field to get into. Get to the peak of your success, and like, nah, you just here because you're just here because we need more people who look like you in the room.
Right.
Nah.
We just got a quota. We got a quota to fill. It's very insulting. I also hate it in the job process because people are like, oh, they hired a black person. Oh, that person was just to fill a black hole. Or that person just a DEI hire, which is like now the new affirmative action. I'm like, bro, did it ever occur to you that you weren't qualified? That maybe you weren't qualified? Like this always happens for the most mediocreest. The most mediocreest people always complain that they are being discriminated against. Like, dude, you weren't that great to begin with. You.
Yeah. I tell you, it's just like people. There are a lot of people who don't want to come to terms with. Sometimes you just ain't it. There are a lot of people going for the same spot. Oh, this is a great one to talk about too.
It is a good one. This is a really good one, and it's tough. Because I have no ill will towards people who want to come here and have and live a better life and want to provide for their families. I mean, we're a land of immigrants. Almost everybody here, matter of fact, other than Native Americans and black people, everybody else was an immigrant at one point or another. These days, I mean, if you're just talking about illegal immigration, I just don't know if enough of them are taking jobs that primarily affect black people. I like if someone from El Salvador came here and wanted to, was coming here just to work construction or to pick fruit or to clean houses. If they weren't here, like it's not like I would pick up that spot and say, hey, I now want to do the things that you weren't doing. I just feel like that Venn diagram doesn't match, but I don't know. It's just a tough conversation.
I can talk about it a little bit more because I live in Florida. On top of that, I live in Miami, Florida, which is a large Cuban population.
A lot of population of Cubans. Yeah. Everybody down there speaks Spanish. Like if you don't speak Spanish, bro.
and frankly speaking, I know our governor tries to cover it up like it's not true. We have a large illegal population in Miami. It's just a known thing here. And the thing about it is that it, whether people want to admit it or not, it helps the economy a lot down here. There was a thing where the governor was like, well, if you get caught with illegals, we're gonna arrest you. We're gonna deport the illegal, and we're gonna arrest you. And people had a fit about it, and he had to kind of walk it back because people were like, no, we're not doing that, because there are a lot of companies, a lot of businesses who hire illegals or day workers and pay them way below minimum wage, which, frankly speaking, black people ain't finna do that work.
No,
To go work on a roof all day for like $3 an hour, or like
whatever they make.
whatever they make it. Like, here go $50. Thank you for working on this roof all day. You know, people don't realize that a lot of these companies, these private companies, get by because they're paying people way below minimum wage to do this work that we frankly not going to do.
And on the side note, on a completely different note, I'm not going to derail your immigration talk, but I mean, this is how this country was built. This is what this country was built on. This country, the society we live in, is heavily predicated on exploitation of people, exploitation of labor. How cheaply? This is what the whole minimum wage is. Like, who was that? Chris Rock, who said, "If I could pay you less, I would."
Slavery, that's literally what slavery was about.
Right. And even after slavery, which this country was built on, by the way, because I mean, what are they going to plow their own fields? They're going to build their own White House? Absolutely not. And then after that point, 13th Amendment, they had Jim Crow, all those Jim Crow laws. Those laws were designed to keep you in your place, to put you back on the plantation, to keep you as cheap as possible. And even the 13th Amendment, like the 13th Amendment says that slavery is illegal unless you in jail, unless you're in prison. Then that's another free labor. That's another way I could keep you subjugated. So when you start talking about immigrations, that stuff is directly in line with the whole cheap labor, free labor as cheap as possible. Let's just say that, because it's not just free labor. It's how cheaply can we get labor here? You know, and immigration, that falls right directly in line. You know, if it wasn't, I mean, I guess you could argue that if it wasn't for immigration, maybe people would pay higher wages, but I doubt it.
Yeah, they would just find different ways to get cheap labor.
And even AI, like a lot of that AI stuff is how can I cut out people? How can I get rid of people? How can I get rid of voice actors? Like when you were looking at the contract negotiations between the Actors Association and the giant movie theater, the giant movie companies, they had provisions in there that they could scan your face one time, pay you a one-time payment, and then use you in the background of scenes for perpetuity. Free labor, cheap labor. How cheaply can I get this?
Since you brought up the AI thing, I got to ask the question. I don't know if you heard it yet. What did you think of the new Drake diss?
Drake
with
whack.
Tupac and Snoop Dogg.
He's so goddamn corny. He's so corny. Bro.
I'm not gonna lie. The first one he came out with, I thought was really good. This one, I think, is super corny.
I don't know where we're in the worst timeline, because when you getting bodied, when rappers are getting bodied by Chris Brown and a rap beef, and I'm not saying Chris Brown was talking about Drake. He was supposed to be talking about Quavo, but Chris Brown's rap rap beef or song today was like,
it was actually kind of,
it was very good. It was very good. I have to fight you now. I'm gonna have to put my hands on you, because that's where we are.
I forgot Chris can rap.
Me too. I was like,
so like vicious, like that.
Yeah, he was vicious. It felt like Ether, right?
Yeah.
It's like Quavo. Like I can't even come back. There's nothing that I can say that's gonna feel or hurt you on the same level that you just. Like, I was sitting at the house, I was eating breakfast. I'm coming. You gonna hit me like that? Anyway. Yeah. When you have a song like that coming from Chris Brown, like what Drake did, it doesn't feel on the same. It doesn't feel right. It don't feel.
He didn't need to do that one.
No, and he didn't do. And I definitely don't know why he felt like he needed AI voices. Like, bro, I just want to hear you. You got beef with one person. What does Snoop and Tupac got to do with any of this? And Snoop's still alive.
Yeah, you could have got actual Snoop. Actual Snoop Dogg.
Right. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, you know what? You know how I knew that? I don't know, maybe I'm aging out. When Rick Ross and Drake were rapping about how big their mansions were, I knew. I knew I was gonna. This ain't it. This ain't for me.
Different.
It's different. It's a different time, man. I remember back in the day, and even talking about J. Cole, like Nas would never. Nas would never.
No,
Nas would
no,
never run from a beef. Tupac would never have ran from a
no.
beef. He run headlong to that.
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you about this. Bringing it back to Black History, even though this is part of Black History. You got any ideas about talking about like the birth of hip hop? Because that's
I
my
am. I do.
yes.
That's gonna be dope. I'm kind of progressing to that,
I,
and I want to get to like
I just
God.
want you to call Fat Joe a liar.
Fat Joe is a liar. Fat Joe is a liar. When he ran out of Big Pun rhyme book, he ain't been the same since.
Yeah, straight up lying.
Yeah, I want to do hip hop. I want to do gospel. I would like to do something on the Black church.
Oh, that's
I
gonna
want to
be
do
dope.
something because when you start looking at music, it's almost impossible to talk about modern music and not talk about the Black church and gospel music and its effect on modern music. Like even when I talked about country, and I only delved into this a little bit, but country was heavily influenced by Negro spirituals and church songs, and a lot of the very early songs, even though the white guys were singing, were like stuff they heard from Black people with songs that we sang. You know, let me find you swinging sweet low, swing low.
Yeah,
But
it's
no,
kind of what
so
it is.
I think going back and talking about gospel music is definitely and then transitioning to hip hop and its influences is going to be dope, especially moving up to the modern day, you know. And I also have plans on talking about sports, also specifically basketball, because the tie-in between basketball and hip hop, they almost rose together. They're almost like brothers. They kind
Yeah.
of rose together out of the same streets. Like, I don't know if you remember that famous line from Big where he talks about you either, slang rock and you got a wicked jump shot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
that was that theme of my way out of here is either through rapping or selling rock or a wicked jump shot. Like, that's dope to me. So I really want to do the story of basketball and how basketball ties back into hip hop and how they like cousins, they brothers.
Yeah. I love that basketball is
Absolutely.
almost uniquely Black
Absolutely.
in the way
Yeah.
everything, the culture of it behind it, just how even how they market basketball. Like I
Yes.
remember the Allen Iverson commercials, the Sprite in basketball and hip hop is always just merged together. There's just so many different aspects of it that just make it like this feels like us.
It does feel like us. And when you talk about it, it's so funny when you go through, because basketball started out almost a uniquely white game. We didn't play it.
Yes.
We didn't play it at all. It wasn't until God, the 60s and moving into the 70s. 70s is where there was an explosion, but early 60s and then moving into the 70s, there was an explosion. And then the game was almost 70s and 80s, the game was almost exclusively Black, to the point where they were sick of us. They
Yeah.
were going into the late 70s because they had a
Oh, wow.
cocaine problem and the whole Rudy Tom Janovich thing where he got his nose broke by homie, and they saw the game is violent and everybody was a cokehead and they had all these problems, and the NBA was being shown in tape delay. Like, it was like right there, and not and basketball not being a thing. And then Magic Johnson came around, and then Larry Bird, and then Michael, and then next it's a cultural thing. And then Allen Iverson, because Allen Iverson with the whole hip hop thing, like, he completely changed. Allen Iverson does not give enough credit for his effect on just Black culture in general.
Yes.
A lot of the things that we do, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, is AI influenced. All of the baggy jeans, arm sleeve, the tattoos, the cornrows, AI.
All AI. Yeah.
AI. He did
AI
all of
was
that.
that dude. AI
He was that dude. And also, if
kind
he
of
was
brought
6'5", he might have
yeah.
been the GOAT. Like I fully believe that if AI was 6'5", he'd be the GOAT. That's just
Yeah.
me. Hey, you can believe it. Not, you think I'm full of shit. Hey.
Yeah. AI was one of those guys that I think if he was on don't get mad, if he was on a better team that had more pieces around him, I think he would have people would think way more fondly of AI than they do now.
Yeah, and his little statue. That was Kevin Hart.
Yeah, what was that? Yeah, I don't know what was that. Like fictional ass Rocky gets this giant ass statue, and they give like AI like a source award.
Yeah, tiny statue. So
here you go, homie.
I will say this. Richard Jefferson kind of explained it to me. He was basically like, they have like this like walk of fame. They have so many Hall of Famers. I don't have this problem because the Hornets suck and the Panthers are not very old. So we don't have this wall of great players. But like how the Celtics have like all those retired numbers and they don't get a big thing, they just get like a little tiny number on a square. This is similar to that, where they have this like walk of fame and nobody gets a giant statue like Michael. Like everybody gets a little tiny statue, and it's like this row of great players with little itty bitty little statues. And I get that, but when you see it, it just looks like a trophy. Like he could just take it home, just put that thing in your pocket. Like it's just
steal that.
Yeah, I feel like I could take it. I would take it. Like, what's that you got in the background, brother? Oh yeah, that's AI. I got Dr. J over here in the corner.
It's so weird, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, they said it makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, a lot of the most successful musicians started off in the church, and I think that's a good basis. And, you know, I'm not gonna say I'm a church kid. I went to church a lot. You know, I have a churchy background, and even though like these days I'm probably not the best Christian, I still like fall back on a lot of those ideas. Like I still have this want to go to the church and hear a good choir. And as soon as I see people stepping, like I love those. I love aspects of the Black church. And I think growing up in the church and having that, I feel like it makes better musicians. Like I feel like you need that background.
I loved it until you realize that you're on hour 5. So we here. So we here all day.
I remember it was during football season. I think the Panthers won a bye that week because now I'm an adult. I'm an adult, and I remember my mom was going through this stage where she was like searching out for different churches and trying to find her way. And she took it to this tiny church. This church was so small, like it wasn't but several rows. And if you got up, the pastor could look you in your face and be like, "Brother, where you going, brother? You going to the bathroom? Okay."
I've been to one of those churches before.
And so we were in there for the whole 1 o'clock game. It was damn near 4:20 when we got it. It was so late that I had lost track of time and space. I'm almost convinced that church was a black hole because I don't know how long we were in there. I just woke up and it was 4 o'clock. Like I would never, ever, ever, ever.
Feel like I want to be like Buddy from the Chappelle Show. Had to wrap it up, box. Wrap it up, B.
Yeah. I need you to shut it down. I'm gonna tell you. When I was a kid, though, especially when I was with my dad, and he would go to church sometimes, but I didn't know there was anything before tithing and the pastor, and then after the pastor stopped preaching, he would wrap it up. No, my dad didn't make it to that. When he started landing that plane, we would be outdoor. I would be in my car by the time he opened the doors. So when I got with my wife and I started going to church with her, and she was like, "No, we got to stay to the end. We got to come at the beginning. Like we got to be here for the beginning of service." I was like, "There's a beginning and in the end, all the way to the end." Till he let the doors open. Why? Why are we doing this? We can leave right now. I had never experienced that life. I was so confused. Don't be like me. Stay to church and tithe. Please get your 10%. They need that. A lot of them churches ain't mega churches.
Yeah.
I'm a big on side note. I'm a big proponent of that. I know people like the church need to be taxed and people need to give. Like my pastor work at a day job. He work at a dealership. You know what I'm saying? Like most of these churches, they got bills, and the pastor has a day job. He does this because his love for this.
Yeah.
So like when they say that you need to tithe, like you're basically helping them pay their bills. Like everybody is not a mega church, not like a 55,000 seat X arena. Like a lot of these, just how they pay their bills. That's all. That's my rant. I'm ranting about religion. You can disregard. It's okay. Moving on.
So let me ask you this: has there been any dream collaborations that you want to do for your pod? I know you don't do collaborations mostly, but anybody like,
Oh
it'd be
wow.
cool to do something with this person for the podcast.
I don't know. I there's a lot of creators in my space that I like and that I admire and I love the work that they do. And I really would like to extend like, hey, we should work together. One, I'm the kind of dude that I don't want to ask nobody for nothing. So at my head, I'm like, hey, we should do something. But in my but the pride in me is like,
Yeah. The funny thing is, the only person that Mike will call is me.
yes, exactly. That's it. It's absolutely. And it's so odd because I see a lot of these guys. I'm like, I love what you do. I appreciate the type of content that you make. I watch your content. I ingest your content. I will support you in what you do. But the idea of doing a collaboration together, one, I don't know what that would look like, and two, like the competitive part of me is like, yeah. Like I'm trying to do better because these people are not my competitors. I'm running a heads down race with myself and not them, but still,
Yeah,
I'm
I think it's cool
kind of
because
competitive.
it kind of is, but I feel like there's people who are doing what you do, but in different ways, in different spaces, and I think it's cool to see you do it.
On the flip side of that, I don't know if any of you guys are on Threads. One of the best places to connect with people that in other social platforms because they got tens of millions of followers and they would never see your comment is Threads. If that person is on Threads, it's most likely that that they will post some of the same content and they may only have like 10 comments or 12 comments, and you can more easily connect with people and talk to people that you normally and otherwise would never see your comment. So if you do have a creator that you enjoy or you just want to talk to me, you can come find me on Threads. But that's how I talk to people. How I talk to the other history creators that I admire, I talk to them on Threads. Or like if I want to talk about something, because I get sick of talking about history all the time. I mean, not that I don't love it, but I'm a Renaissance man. I love a lot of things. Yeah. I love a lot of things. I love a lot of things. Like I spent a lot of time recently, talking about X-Men 97. Like I don't want to be like,
great show.
Oh, so good.
So good.
It's so good. Or just talk about comic books in general. I love comic books. Like that sort of stuff. I get on there and I talk to people. And I'm a big, huge proponent of Threads because I feel like not this is an up-and-coming platform, but I feel like it's the platform that works best for me right now. As opposed to X, when I getting called a nigga on every day.
Yeah, there's that part.
Yeah.
It would be both. So
I'm just tired of arguing with them. I don't even argue with them. I don't argue with them no more. I block people. That's my all 2024. I'm blocking people.
Yeah. So everything Culture says he wants you on as a guest, which I think you definitely should do.
Bro, I've been trying to get on your show since forever. I mean, I will say this. Let me preface this by saying he did ask me to be on his show, and I'm the kind of person that be halfway paying attention to stuff and just will ignore. I will ignore a comment, and I didn't know who you were, and you sent me a comment. I was like, bro, who's this? Maybe I'll do it, and then I'll forget, and it'll be in the archives, and I'll forget. I don't. That's not my heart. That's just kind of my nature. Is just weird sometimes.
And I will tell you this to let people know this is 100% true because I am his friend. And then I will message him like, "Hey, come on!" And then he'll message me like through like, "Oh, you said you wanted me to come on?" Like, yes.
Yeah, sorry.
like,
I will see a message, and this doesn't happen just to you because Dave is the homie too. Like he was just at the house, and he'll message me, and days later, oh, bro, my fault, I didn't see you. Or he'll ask me to do things, and I was like, yo, when is that? Is that the day? Oh, my fault. I was tripping. I'm tripping. So yes, everything culture, man. I would love to come on. Send me a DM. Just gotta stay. You gotta stay on me. I'm real heads down. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a real kind of like work, podcast, social media. I don't even talk to a whole lot. Like I chat like in social media, but as far as like DMs, like I'll check that joint. Okay, and then I'll move on with my day and then forget it existed. As long as that little icon ain't up there no more, it didn't happen. So yeah, just stay on me. I'm good. Let's do it. As a matter of fact, hit me and set a date. Like, get me penciled in for a date, and then I'm good. I'll put that in my calendar and I won't forget. But as long as it's like Shoulder English Cat, where it's just hanging out there, it's
hit him up.
Be a man. Yeah, hit me up. Hit me up.
If you love his content, hit him up. It's a lot of stuff we can do.
So I know we're getting to the place where people are like, "Yo, hey, where else are you going to do? What else are you going to do for the podcast?" And I think
bring it back to cut, baby.
I know I would love to bring back the cut. Dave was on the cut. Matter of fact, Dave was on the cut. Matter of fact, if you look at the logo and that silhouette, he's the guy sitting off to the far right.
Oh, right. There you go.
Yeah. But as far as the other dudes, man, they all scattered to the wind. I don't even know if I can find half them cats. Like, I know there's only one dude from the cut that I could possibly bring back. The rest of them dudes, and Dave will tell you, I don't know if he in the comments, but Dave will say, hello. Dave will say, it ain't possible. Dave, in the comments, where's Ryan right now? We don't know. I don't know where Ryan is. Where's Graham? We don't know where he is.
I feel like this is going to end up me replacing one of them on the podcast.
Yes. I feel like that's what need to happen. Is I'm going to have to get the Temptations together with a whole new lineup. Yeah. We're going to bring the cut back together, and it's going to be four brand new people. Yeah. That'd be dope, though. I actually like that idea of at least, maybe not doing it on a constant, like every week, but every couple of weeks, every month. Yeah, monthly. Yeah, do it monthly.
You just have stuff you want to talk about. It's not like
and I don't never get. We don't never get to talk about it. Like the idea of you talking about X97, that's been itching. It's been itching.
Unless Mike comes to my podcast, you don't really get to talk about it.
No, I don't get to talk about it. I'd be sitting here talking about
Josephine Baker. Have Mike on the podcast.
Yeah, every single week, right?
Just have Mike on the podcast.
Yeah. So my plan, at least for the podcast, is I'm working on my visuals. I know you guys watch the episode. You're like, man, if you don't get out of here with these goddamn slideshows and all this mess, I don't want to see this mess no more. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of it too. So I bought Adobe Suite and Adobe Premiere, After Effects. Hell yeah, it's expensive. But I mean, I'm at 100K, man. What you want me to tell you? Like, I can't be free anymore. I can't be cheap. Yeah. I can't use CapCut for everything. Like, at some point, you got to graduate and become an adult. So this is me doing adult. You become a man, you got to put away childish things or whatever. So anyway, so I'm learning to use Adobe Premiere, After Effects to try to make my videos more engaging, to try to make them easier to watch. I understand it's like, yo, bro, what are we doing? Why is it so boring? So this is the plan. The plan is to make more entertaining visuals, more entertaining videos, and we're gonna try it. This is what's gonna take me to 1 million. This is how I get my second plaque. Is by making better visuals, because I could tell a story, but the story has to be watchable. It has to be something that I would want to watch. And honestly, I don't even know if I watch my own episodes. Like, sometimes I'm like, bro, it's kind of boring. So yeah, but somebody like it. They like it. People like it.
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's history. I think.
Yeah. It's hard to even sell it. It's hard to even sell it to people. Like, I'll be telling people I do history. They be like, oh, okay. Like, hey, I got a history pod. I told the people, I just tossed it out at work. I was like, yeah, I got a Black History podcast. And they're like, huh, okay, that's cool. Anyway, so about the invoice. Damn.
Yeah. Imagine telling people what I do. I
right.
do a podcast. Like, about what? I interview people. Anybody I know? Probably not.
Yeah, right. 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 And what's crazy? What's crazy about that is, like, me and you, we remember podcasting before podcasting was podcasting. Like, I've been in the game probably like 4 or 5 years, and the game has changed so much. I remember that whole roundtable discussion thing we were doing. People were not sick of that when I was doing it. They weren't sick of it yet. Now in 2024, boy, if you brought that podcast, it's like, you don't put that mic down. Tell another story. Have
Yeah.
black women and black men, black women and black men fighting again about 50-50 first dates again.
They
Bro, I
done
don't want
ru-
to hear that shit.
they done ruined the game for us. They done
Yeah,
came
and
out
ruin the
here,
game, man. They be trying to tell me like the worst thing ever happened in podcasting, Mike. I was like, hold on. I'm a podcaster. You hate me too? He's like, no, you make quality content. Do I though?
we used to get down. We used to have
We
fun,
used
man. Now
to,
everybody,
down. Like, hey, go look at because I didn't get rid of another cut videos. They still up. They still up on YouTube. Go look at them early videos and see if we ain't talking about just straight foolishness. Like you think I'm a mature man now, but that was not always the case.
that is usually never the case. Like,
No, it's never the case, man. 2019, like you said, man. 2019 was a different time. I didn't have no kid either.
Yeah, that's definitely a different time.
Yeah.
y'all better be glad y'all getting these Black History.
Yeah, you better be glad about these Black History facts. I be feeling like I got gravitas now. I didn't picked it up a notch. You know what I'm saying? I should have wore a suit for this. I will say this. Telling people at the job, when I worked at Microsoft, the people at the job really responded to the Black History podcast. They would have me doing that. Didn't help me get a job, but they would have me in there doing some speeches, and I would talk and educate people. And I did Black History Month and Juneteenth, and they were trying to get me in BAM, which is their like blacks at Microsoft organization. I was like, bro, I'm not an employee. It was like, yo, fix that first. Help me become an employee, and I would love to join your weirdly named organization.
Yeah. Give me a free Xbox or something.
Right, give me an Xbox or something. But since then, I don't really tell people like in the new job. I wouldn't tell them cats because I don't want them to think that, oh, you got 10,000 subscribers. This is what you want to do for a living. You're gonna quit. You're gonna quit. You're gonna quit and become a full-time YouTuber. Like, hell no. I need these. I got bills.
Rent is due.
Rent is due, man. If you guys just knew how much YouTube fluctuates in terms of like money, like you couldn't live off of this. Like, yeah, there was some months that I made a killing, right? But the months that you don't, like the mortgage don't give a damn that you didn't make. You know what I'm saying? That you didn't make $1,000 last. It doesn't care. Like going full time is the scariest thing in the world. I wouldn't advise it for anybody, even if you had an audience. Like I just can't.
I have a friend who's full time with it, and he does pretty good. He does pretty good, but also he has like big time
Smart
guest
man.
on. It's very smart.
Yes. I think that's the pull is maybe having big time guests or something like, because my channel is faceless. It's really difficult to sell it because you get to a certain size, and there's certain YouTubers like that like Mr. Baldwin, who I'm a big fan of, who started about the same time I did. Now he like at like 8 million followers. Anyway, he has facial recognition. You can see him, and no matter what he puts out, you're not really, I mean, you're here for the videos, but you're also here because he does, I like you as a person. When you have a faceless channel, your videos have to be better because people are not just here for your videos. I mean, they only here for your video. They're only here for the content. They only hear what you had to give. And especially when you're talking about history, a lot of my history, a lot of the things that people come for with my stuff, they search for it. So it's much harder because somebody is like typed in Selma and saw my video and now they want to watch it. And they're not a fan of any of my other content. They're just here for what I wanted to see. And now I wrote my book report. I don't need this anymore. So it's difficult. It's really up and down. I would not advise anyone. And also, the tax bill is nuts. It's nuts.
There's that.
That 1099, bro. I paid, let's just say it was over 10 grand in taxes last year. I mean, granted, I put that money aside, but
that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot, you know? And you have to, I have a day job. I'm not dependent on that money. But if I was dependent on that money, I can almost guarantee you I would not have had 10 grand just sitting around waiting to give it to the federal government. That money would have been long spent. And so if I have to be my livelihood, that's insanity. It's insanity. Don't do that.
Everything culture looking like, hold up, you paid what? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you become the partner program, they don't take out taxes. You are a 1099, which means you're a contractor, right? So that means they give you all your money. If I give you $100, that $100 is not taxed yet. At the end of the year, they send a form to the federal government saying, "Hey, I paid this guy this much," and then you get a form saying, "We paid you this much," and then you have to tell them, "I got this much money," and then they say, "You owe 30% of that, or 35%, or whatever your tax rate is." I don't know how much you get paid.
Correct.
So yeah.
So
It ain't sweet.
You got to make sure you pay that.
Yeah. Oh man, you don't want those problems. You don't want those problems because you know what? You end up in jail right next to Wesley Snipes and Ronald Isley. I think all of them went to jail for tax evasion.
Yeah. You're not Trump.
No, you're not light enough or rich enough.
You can't get over that swag.
You can't get out. Like, no.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Pay your taxes.
Yes, please pay your taxes. If you don't do nothing else in this world, pay your taxes because they will get it in blood.
Yes, they will.
They will get it in blood. On the flip side of that, man, as far as I guess we can land this plane since it's been an hour, and I don't want to hold people, and I'm sure Shantae's sitting at the door somewhere about to knock it down. Yeah, you consider self-employed, and it is not fun. It's not fun at all. Yeah, Terrence Howard. You know what that's why he got that wig. That's why he wore the wig. So they wouldn't recognize him. Because I certainly didn't recognize. I saw that video. I was like, who's that white lady? This shit. You still here? You're actually in these comments? Man, stop. Don't say nothing crazy because my wife is here.
Yeah. Don't get my man in trouble.
Yeah, don't get me in trouble. Don't say nothing crazy.
Yeah, man, 100,000.
Yeah,
that's a huge accomplishment.
I don't know what the next year holds. Things have been kind of slower for this year. I haven't made nearly as much money, nearly as many subscribers. I got to 90 quick and spent the next several months trying to get over 200K. It was like you're in a marathon and you get to 20 miles and it feels like it's easy and you're doing fine. And then you hit a wall and that last 4 miles just feel like it just last, 6 miles feels like it's just a slog. And that's what this was. It was just like I was running in mud. So I don't know when I'll get to 200K. I'm hoping to just make that a goal for myself, to make 200K a goal for myself. There's no plaques for that, but internally it matters. It matters to me. Honestly though, the biggest thing is just to try to make compelling content that people continue to want to watch, people continue to want to listen to. I delved into the idea of creating a second channel. I think I might revisit that idea when I get better at making
video. Did you mute yourself?
I want to look like 10% of Vox, just like a little bit. I just want to look like Vox just a little bit. Like I realize I don't have the experience to look like Vox, but that's what I would like. Something similar to that kind of idea where you can watch it and it don't feel like a long 8 minutes. It's this is nice. It's refreshing. I like that. This is what I would like for my videos, to be more voxy, to be more like visually appealing, to where the time while I'm hitting you with this hard hitting stuff, visually, you're having a good time. Your eyeballs are pleased. Anyway,
I think it just takes time and patience, man. You show that you have time and patience, and you build up this wonderful community. 100K is awesome. Next 150, 200, keep building it up. Next thing you know, you'll be fighting ISO speed on Triller.
Yeah, man. But which, by the way, when you make content and then you see what other people content, what makes them millions of dollars, you be like, bro, bro. I spent 3 hours working on this. I've spent 3 hours recording this episode and
Yeah.
getting it edited. And this dude and Kai yelled at his TV screen while playing video games for 2 hours. It's like, it's not. What am I doing? I'm in the wrong profession. That's what it is.
You need to
Say,
start
Grant,
yelling
I'm
at the TV screen.
right. I'm probably too old for that. I probably aged out of that demographic.
Yeah, we might be too late for us to do that.
Yeah, it might be too late. Like entertainment. Like, if I was gonna be a YouTuber, the only way I could be a YouTuber is through education. Is educating people. Because nobody wants to see me scream at them.
Yeah. Or you can go the other route that other people do. Chill
Right.
Go that route. You be fresh and fit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Yes. If
like
you
40.
if you decide that you want to be like Fresh and Fit, or you want to be a right-wing pundit, like, there's tons of money in that. I think Tim Pool was like, I went live and they were just throwing money at him. And I was like, yay.
I don't know if I want that money.
No, that money stink, man. That money got strings attached. Yeah. Anyway, I will say you can get into game streaming, but that is a very sorry, I didn't put that up there so people can see it. You can get into game streaming, but it's a very saturated market niche. Like, it's a lot of people, a lot of 12-year-olds who think that them streaming is their pathway to a soft life. This is their idea. This is what they think YouTube is, a soft life. When in actuality, I spent 3 hours editing the video last night. So there's that. Don't but if you just have a passion for it, do it. Also, Twitch, like, if you do Twitch doesn't save your episodes, and it's tough to get an audience. Like, if it's 10 people in here now, if you were to get 10 people on Twitch, that's a good day. You are a superstar on Twitch with 10 people.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. If you plan, you might as well stream it. And I get that. Nobody wants to see me play for Fallout or Cyberpunk.
Well, probably right now, they might want to see you play Fallout. Yeah. Fallout's pretty popular right now. Have you seen the show? It is pretty popular.
Now, I have seen. I watched the first episode. I'm gonna go and binge, but I'm still trying to get. This is my favorite part. I'm still trying to get through Shogun. I'm about 5 episodes in the Shogun. It's so good. It's like Game of Thrones. It's so goddamn good. I will give you recommendations before I get up out of here. TV recommendations. Watch X-Men 97. Watch Shogun. Watch Fallout. Watch Masters of the Air. It's on Apple. It's amazing. It's a period piece. I thought it'd be more black pilots in it, but
of course it's not.
They were in there for like the Tuskegee Airmen were in the episode for like half of the second to last episode, and then they never talk about them niggas again. I'm like, bro, I'm not granted, I'm having a great time, but I thought we were gonna get more black pilots. Anyway, yeah, watch that. Matter of fact, just watch everything on Apple Plus. Everything they do on Apple Plus is high quality. All those shows are just so good. Like, you just pick one. Like, even Mankind, what's it? For All Mankind.
People tell me it's really good.
They say it's great. I struggled through the beginning of it as it's trying to get its legs, but they said once it hits its stride, it's amazing. I watched Severance, which also is like, so damn good.
Need to watch that one too.
Yeah, like all these shows. I'm putting y'all up on game. Watch these shows, Shantae. Watch these shows. She's not. She's not. Anyway, before we get way too off the rails, because that's what I'll do. We'll go ahead and land this plane. I'm gonna let Delvin tell him where this is the opposite side of this. Tell him where we can find you.
It's so weird we're doing this. You can find me on X if you're still on that terrible app. I just figured I'm just gonna go down with the ship. Just go down with the ship.
Go down with the Elon.
Yeah. On Delvin_Cox. You can check out the Delvin Cox Experience. Anywhere you get podcasts. If you want to talk about video game stuff, I'm on a podcast. It's pretty popular called Play Some Video Games. PSVG. It's a real popular podcast that people like talking about video game stuff. And I often make black jokes that one of my white co-hosts don't get, and the black one does, and he laughs at it every time.
Right over their head.
Just right over their head.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh. So one of the things before I head out, one of the things about being on white podcasts is always interesting to me because they bring me on to talk about like black people, black history, and it's
Yes.
very hard. Like I have to talk about it in abstract terms because I don't want you to feel like I'm directly talking about you. Like this is about you. It's not really about you. You know, I was
Well,
on one
sometimes it is.
barely. Yeah, I mean it is, but it's not. Like I don't want you to feel like offended, but this story is going to be about your ancestors. So we talked. I was on one with these guys. They were Irish, and they were cool. They were cool, but they were like at the very end, they were like, "Hey, so do you hate white people?" Wow, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And to bring this full circle, and to land this thing, Malcolm X once said, "Is like, you know, to ask me whether or not I hate white people never come up. I'm worried centrally about my people, about black people, and how I can uplift them." And then he goes on to basically say, I'm paraphrasing now, um, to treat people the way you treated them, and then to ask them if I hate you after you treated me poorly for 400 years is insanity. It's insanity. Like how else would you want me to feel if someone treated you poorly every single day? If your neighbor comes outside and you see him, and every single time you wave at him, he flicks his middle finger up at you, and then one day he comes over and he's like, "Hey, do you hate me?" I mean, I don't necessarily like what you're doing.
Yeah,
Anyway, so yes,
that's a perfect
um,
analogy.
it is a perfect analogy. And then to that point, I know what I said though. I'm like, no, I love people. I feel like we're in a place now where we can all get along, and that we're just that we're being pointed the wrong direction. We're being pointed at things that don't matter, like race, when we're being mostly exploited by people who can control the purse strings. You know what I'm saying? The Elons in the world have a vested interest in making sure that you stay at the throat of somebody who looks different from you.
Exactly. I think
Anyway.
to add on to that before we go, I think people just need to be more honest about things.
Hmm.
And what I mean by it is, it's okay to see an injustice happen to a black person and say, you know what, that's fucked up. You don't have to make excuses for it.
Right.
You can just say, yo, that's fucked up, a fucked up thing. Like I saw something on the news that they well, I think it was a white girl was killed by police fire, something like that. And like people are like, oh, that's terrible, that's fucked up. Like, yeah, it's okay to be like, hey, no matter what race it is, what creed it is, if something fucked up happens, especially when you're talking about the police, hey, that's not right.
Yeah, that's fucked up. We shouldn't have to do that. Don't do that. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, we don't have to justify like, oh, what were they
Yeah.
doing that day? What did he do to
Yeah.
deserve that? No, no,
Hey.
that's fucked up.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Money 100% drives it. Anyway. All right. So we're gonna land this because I would never get out here. Me and Devlin talk all day.
Very
Um,
true.
so for me, you guys can find me primarily on Threads. I'm also on X. I hate that fucking platform. I'm trying to like
It's fucking terrible.
detox myself away from Elon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I'm starting. So I've been heavy on Threads. If you really want to talk to me, that's where I spend a lot of my time. But I do like Delvin, feel like I'm gonna be going down with this ship because the thing about Threads is that if you on it, you realize that I'm surrounded by content creators, and now while that's fun, these are not real people. These are not real people. Like I don't. It's not some lady out here playing with her kids or going to the beach. Everybody I know makes podcasts or fashion or some crap. It's just weird. It's a weird time.
Yeah.
Real people. This is the real dude sitting at his house, and then if something he says is crazy, he probably really meant it. So you can find me on X. You can find me on Instagram.
I think he cut out.
So whatnot, whatever. If you into that, YouTube says I need to make more. I make a podcast, so I made a podcast, audio only. I don't know. Um, so yeah, I really appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for your support. We're gonna do a 100 more, 900 more. Maybe I get to 1,000,000. I don't know. We don't know where this train stops, man. This is my retirement plan. If you subscribe to the podcast, you donated money, or you a member, or any of that, man, I cannot thank you enough. None of this could be possible without you.
I don't know why